Welcome everyone to this webinar. This is our webinar that we run twice a month to discuss the career opportunities at Enterprise, our graduate management training program and our placement program. And my name is Monica. You may have met me or one of my colleagues at your careers fairs or any sort of university events in the last couple of months. And I'm joined here by my colleague, Jessicamay. Jessicamay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, please ignore the background. I'm having some technical issues, so I'm having to sit in a funny place in the house. But I've actually just completed my intern year with Enterprise, and I'm now working part-time whilst I'm doing my final year. I've worked at 3 different branches across Enterprise, all in London, so I can sort of give you like a real insight of what happens day to day. And yeah, an experience for an intern as well as a graduate because you all do the same scheme. So yeah.
Thank you, Jessicamay. Thank you for joining us. And again, thank you to everyone who is joining us from all over the UK. So we're streaming this. We're obviously live, but we're also streaming this on social media. So this webinar is to share more information about who we are as a company. Because we probably wouldn't have had a lot of time when you met us at campus to go through any in-depth, but this is the session. This is also an opportunity for you to ask questions. So you will see the chat box. So enter any questions that you have along the way, and we're going to cover them. So we're going to go for about 40 minutes, open it up obviously before that for Q&A as we go along. So as you know, we are Enterprise Mobility. And I'd love to share this slide, first of all, with you to just give a really great summary of how successful and how large the company is. We are a family-owned company, and we have quite a few brands, but we have, from a financial perspective, we've generated over $35 billion in revenue. We have 90,000 employees across the globe. We're in 90 different countries, and we have over 9.5 global branches. We have a really strong investment grade, means that companies want to do business with us, and we're voted the 7th largest privately held company, according to Forbes. Our fleet makes up around 2.3 million different types of vehicles, and also about 300 and more different types of makes and models across. So we're not just your standard rent-a-car. And you'll see in the next slide a little bit more of what I mean. So we're not really car rental, although you've probably known as the Enterprise Rent-A-Car brand, and that is correct. But we rebranded in November to really reaffirm our mobility position within Enterprise. Okay, so we have quite a few brands, and this really is an indication of how successful Enterprise Mobility has been in terms of delivering exceptional customer service and changing our business to meet the demands of our customers and the way that customers travel as well. We also have technology solutions. We don't just have, as I said, the box standard car rental, as maybe some of you may assume, but we do fleet management, flexible vehicle hire, car sharing, van pooling, car sales, truck rental, vehicle subscription, luxury rental. So it's all under the Enterprise Mobility brand. So for those of you that are looking to join the graduate management training program or the placement programs, you'll be joining us under Enterprise. And if you're going into our head office, again, that Enterprise or Enterprise Mobility, depending on the role that you will be working with. And I wanted to share with you our values. This is really important as some of you start to enter the application process at Enterprise, which is the aim of this session, is to join a business where you feel like you are connected with their values, or you really are in line and really feel that you share similar values. I'm not going to read them off, but they're very important for you to be aware of, especially as you enter the application process. As you enter the application process, meaning after you complete your application online and we call you for an interview, you are going to see that that some of these resources exactly as you see on the screen are may be brought up into some of the discussions. So be aware of them. I personally was connected a lot with the customer service. Customer service was a big part of my background when I was working in throughout university. And I also wanted to be part of a company that rewarded hard work. And that was true for sure in my career. And you will hear shortly from Jessica as well. Jessica, just before we go on, tell me, can you just share a little bit about your role today? Or actually, let me just back up one bit. What university are you at? Because you actually haven't graduated yet. You are on our one-year placement program. University, and what you studied, and how you landed on enterprise.
Yeah, so I actually study at London South Bank University, and I do project management. So that's a good thing about enterprise. It's very broad. It gives you like very transferable skills. So obviously project management isn't necessarily a business pathway, but it's given me lots of skills that I could take into a different company or use within enterprise. And it's really helped me and my progression in a business perspective. My university has only really started doing career development, which most of yours probably do. So I myself, when I was applying for my placement, which I know some of you are, I must have applied for over 100 different placement roles over that year. And it was really stressful, so keep going because it does get easier. And I think I interviewed for 5 different companies as well. The reason I actually ended up going with enterprise is that and when you actually go in and you go through like the stages of your interview and you go down to the branch that you'll be working in, you can see how hands-on everything that or in a placement role where I just make tea and coffees for everyone. I really wanted to do something where I was learning the business, and that's what enterprise obviously gave me.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jessicamay. And that's some of the assumptions that people make when they are exploring enterprise and don't really know who enterprise mobility are. So the aim of this webinar is to fill you in on bits of the business, as we said, and allow you to have a clear vision of who you'll be investing in if you do take on a placement or graduate roles. The our values, as I said here, are really important to enterprise. And we also are a company that is very forward thinking and progressive, and we do a lot of investment in our future. So there's lots of different initiatives that the company invests in, and these are some of the, I guess, the 4 largest ones that we invest in. So we aren't just a company that is here to obviously be financially successful and then just invest in our own business. Actually, a lot of the reinvestment is in our communities. You can see there's quite a few. We've done Fill Your Tank, which focuses on food poverty, 50 million pledge, because 50 million pledge is because we want to offset the fuel emissions that that our company obviously contributes towards. We're very sustainability aware, so we are reinvesting in the fleet of our vehicles and also alternative travel options for our customers. And latest technology is mobility as a service. That again is also part of our sustainability mission. So we do a lot of investment in the futures, investing in our future. We are also known as a very large, diverse, inclusive, and a company that focuses on equity as well. And we truly believe that everyone brings something different to the table, and that's great. So not everyone needs to come with a business degree to join our general business program. Jessica, what did you study at London South Bank University, or what are you studying?
So I do project management, which is technically business related, but not as in depth as a business management. And worked with a lot of my colleagues didn't actually do business backgrounds. So I've had colleagues that did geography, I've had colleagues that did art, I've had colleagues that did everything, and they still come into enterprise and sort of get that experience. Obviously, being a woman in the business as well, it's working in a business where they believe women leadership and being a powerful woman in business was quite a big thing for me as well. And enterprise obviously have all of that to offer.
Thank you, Jessicamay. And I love that you haven't studied business because you're a true testament that you can be successful in this business role as a placement or graduate from all different disciplines. So that's probably one of the misconceptions that students have is whether or not they need to have a background in business. And the answer is
Mhm.
absolutely not. As long as you can share why you are passionate about joining the business and joining the company, then you will be successful. So as I mentioned, we understand that no two people are the same, and we like that diversity. And studies have shown that the more diverse um, the business has of employees, especially at senior level, the more successful they will be. So we have some awards there that we're really proud of. So we are a disability confident employer. We're on the social mobility top 75 employer. We've ranked the top 50 employers for gender equality, and we were the winner at the Grad Ireland Diversity Recruitment Awards. And then a lot of shortlisted awards as well. So this is part of everything that we do. It's not just sort of our, kind of a nice to have. This is really embedded in the performance of some of our middle and senior managers. In order to move up and progress within the company, they really need to show that they live and breathe by these values that we've already mentioned. So if this is important to you and if you want to find a place that could really embrace your differences and support your differences and your progression, then clearly you will have that here at Enterprise because of the diverse equity and inclusion culture that we have. And lastly, we have a lot of progression, don't we, Jessicamay? We have lots of promotions. Even just looking at the career timeline that we may have shared with you at the careers fairs or some of the events, there's a really defined career timeline where you will be from when you join us as a placement student and as a graduate to where you'll be in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, 1 year's, 2 years' time. So that's fantastic for you to be able to see where you're going to be. Last year, we had over 20,000 promotions across various positions across the company, which is huge. And many of you don't know this, but any roles that are open today within the company. So, for example, we might have a digital, we might have a role in digital marketing, communications, technology, or sales. They're all ring fenced to employees that join the business. So that means that we're going to have loads of promotion opportunities for employees that have started the business. They're not open externally. And that's what allowed people like myself to progress with the company after I joined the graduate management training program, is knowing that I didn't need to switch companies to get promoted. I could join Enterprise and be promoted to the different roles that I've held without having to change companies. So that was something that was very important to me. And then finally, our awards some of the top awards that we've been recognized for is for those of you on the call today that are looking to join an internship. Summer internships are now open for this year, as well as one-year placements. We were voted by Rate My Placements, or the students were voted as best student employer. So we were ranked #1. So it's a huge accolade. We're really proud of our accomplishments there. And because that's voted by students, so people like Jessicamay who joined and done the placements, it's their opinion, it's their feedback on how their program went. And this is against hundreds of other employers that also do offer the graduates and the placement opportunities. We've also been ranked on the Times Top 100 Graduate Employers for several years now. Again, that is a testament of our program and how we are very much living by our values and the structure. It is a structured training program. And then we were the winner of the Graduate Employer of the Year at the National Graduate Recruitment Awards. So really proud of those. Those are some of the most recent awards that we've had. As you do your research, that's important. I'm going to go into a little bit about the graduate management trainee and placement programs, what the placement program is. And I will share now, the programs are very similar. They're almost identical. So as you join us as a management trainee or placement management, you will be performing in the same role, in the same environment. So the 5 reasons, obviously, to be a management trainee or a placement student. First is business understanding. We're going to teach you how to everything you need to know about our business and business in general. That's why it's a general business program. So this is hugely beneficial for those that are already working in that with a business background and with your degree, or those that are interested, maybe entrepreneurial. You want to maybe look at setting up company, etc. Those are the different types of students that we attract. But you don't have to come with a business background, as we've just heard from Jessicamay. We have students come to us with psychology background, humanity, in the humanities, also chemistry, from the STEM fields. You don't have to come to us with a business background. You'll also be learning professional skills, of course, because once you do your placement with us and your graduate role, you're going to be learning how to conduct business in a professional environment with corporate clients, colleagues, teammates, all of our management across the business. So we're going to teach you the professional skills that you need. You're going to grow relationships. You're going to develop some fantastic relationships, most of them obviously internally here within the business. So Jessicamay, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the relationships that you've developed in your role as a placement student, and that being either through your direct management or maybe through some network groups?
Yes, so when I very first started, I was actually in quite a small team, a small branch, and I've made some of the bestest friends. But slightly go off track, is everybody that you work with in branch is a similar age to you. They're all in the same steps as with you. They've either just finished uni or they're on their placement, and that's probably like the most enjoyable thing that I've had day to day. It doesn't feel like I'm coming to work. It feels like I'm going to meet up with my friends and have a good day. So and with Enterprise, they do lots of like reward schemes. So obviously if you're hitting targets and stuff, you get to go out and you get to network. So I've met quite a few people for them kind of days, and the progression that happens within Enterprise. So my very first is now an area manager of a different area, and you're able to meet people from all over the country. Another thing that I loved about Enterprise is they actually offer charity days. So they give a day, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but a day where you give back. So which I've done quite a few, and you meet a lot of the head of businesses there, and it's a really good networking place, but then also something to give back, which lots of companies don't offer. And I met the head of U1, lots of people from accounting that day, as well as being able to give back. So it was a double win there.
Thank you. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed when I was working as a graduate management trainee, is that networking opportunity to meet people in our administration, our support administration offices that supported our business. And that those relationships really helped, because you never know when you're going to work in those departments and those teams. So that really benefited my career, and I know it's benefited a lot of my colleagues' careers as well, building those relationships. So growing the relationships is one of the skills that you will be developing in the role, and you're also going to be developing a support system. So you may have already got that same common reoccurring theme from Jessicamay and I, but the company offers just generally, this is the way we are. We're a people business. The support system naturally comes when you join some graduate schemes. It could be quite competitive. You're not really as pally or as nice and friendly, or might not be as authentic working with other colleagues, because you're working on the same program that potentially could lead to only maybe one job or two jobs against 5 or 6. So you try to not share too much, and you keep your cards very close to your chest, where it's not that case at Enterprise Mobility at all. We all want to help each other. It doesn't matter if someone's not doing as well. We encourage them to do well. We share best practices. We share our trade secrets on what makes us successful. That's encouraged. Now, Jessicamay, you might want to come in here on this. Is there anything that have any examples you had in your branch where this kind of support system and sharing and that camaraderie has come out?
Yeah, so I would say you're in your branch, and I'd probably say your branch is a maximum of 12 to 15 people, sometimes even less. And the people that you're on in your branch, they want you to achieve. Everybody wants you to work together. I remember I was having a bad day, which everybody does, and my branch manager sat me down and he went, I'm the person that believes in you the most. Like, with you, stop stressing. And it was a really nice thing to hear, because you can go into a company, you can have bad days, and they will turn you away, and that nobody does that. Everyone's so close. Like my area manager, if I had a problem, I give her a call, and I know that she's at the other end of the phone there to listen. And it's a real community. It's literally like working with your best friends. So you can kind of, yeah, there's just so much support everywhere. And even going on from sort of area managers, like my city manager, he's lovely. And you've got a real support, and you work in areas within enterprise. So you're in a branch in an area, and you have area nights out, so you get to meet so many people. So I've walked away from my placement with more friends than I've ever had. So it is a really good experience. And
Yeah, we've just lost Jessicamay for a second there. Absolutely. I think the support system with is incredible. I will say that myself. And also with the rewards and recognition, which is the next and last and final reason, is the reward and recognition. So as a placement student, you are going to be benefiting from the incentives, the competitions that we'll run, so you can contribute to those and be part of those right away. You don't have to wait. Which is great, because that's where I personally, I found I didn't realize I was a competitive person, but I really enjoyed those friendly competitions. And I even more so enjoyed the reward and the recognition that you get. I think that's what you're saying, Jessicamay, about the reward and recognition culture that we have at Enterprise.
yeah, sorry, I dropped out. I'm having awful signal, but yeah, I think as well, it gives you something to work towards. For me, I didn't want to be in a dead end job where I look at a computer all day and it's just the same thing. There's something to work, there's step to take with enterprise. You don't just come in and right, I'm going to do this and that's it. There's always something to work towards, and it gives you that real push into, I'm going to do this because I know this is going to happen when I do it. And I really believe that enterprise is such a good company to do that with, obviously from my experience.
Yeah, thank you, Jessicamay. Absolutely, and that's the feedback that we get as a result of obviously these fantastic awards that we are being being awarded with. This is a career timeline, and I am just as we kind of go into the second piece of the session. Is before we get into the advice on hits and tips, which I see it's just in the chat. Someone wants some advice. Absolutely, we will give you that. It's important to know and this is actually my advice, is understand the career path at Enterprise. When you go into the interview, you will probably be asked by one of my colleagues, what do you know about the role? Or why do you want to work here? And that tends to be sometimes a hard question. Why you want to work here becomes a hard question. This career map that I'm sharing on the screen tends to be the reason why people join. It's the reason why I know one of the reasons Jessicamay joined and I joined is the career progression. So full stop. And someone today at a careers fair, I was at Cambridge today, and one of the students that I was speaking to said, I've been speaking to other employers here today, and they all might have a slightly larger salary to start with, but they're not offering the career progression that your company is showing. After 1 year, 2 years, you're going to be in that role for probably short term of maybe 1 to 2 years, but after 2 years, what happens? And that's kind of the unknown. Whereas enterprise mobility, there is no unknown with that. This is really clear as day. We want you to continue growing your career by following some of these paths. And it's not linear, it's not the same. So everyone joins as a graduate management trainee or as a placement like Jessicamay. And then from there, we move our way up towards the company to assistant manager and then branch manager. So it takes 1 year to become assistant manager or less, depending if you're progressing quickly, or 2 years to branch manager. When you become a branch manager and you've got confidence and you're ready to, maybe manage another location, you can continue to become an area rental manager, or you can then branch out into one of the more specialized roles like HR, like sales, like marketing, like accounts. So all of these departments, as I said it a little bit ago, the promotions are ring fence for people coming up the system. So Jessicamay mentioned it at the beginning. When you join as a placement student, you're going to be in your program, and just like Jessicamay, you enjoy it and you do a great job, you'll be offered a position back within our business as a graduate before you even finish your final year. So these are all things that are really important to us. We want you to know that where your next step is, and that's part of our of the company's proposition is progression, is moving you towards your career any direction you want to go. Which is really exciting because it means, as I said already, you don't need to leave, you don't need to move in it through different companies. It's all available here at Enterprise. So finally, I just wanted to end with what skills you will get both for the internship placements and graduate management training program. So communication is a skill that we look for as a competency in your application, throughout your interview process, and of course throughout your role. Customer service, you have to really enjoy working with customers because you're going to be learning how to excel in that and how to deliver excellent customer service. You're going to learn to manage your time more effectively, to be more productive and effectively. You're going to learn leadership skills, leadership skills about you, what kind of a leader you are, and what kind of leadership skills you need to be successful. You're going to gain emotional intelligence, which is so important in this, especially in this day and age. And working as a team, working as part of a team is hugely important, in understanding others as well. You're going to, of course, learn more about the marketing and sales. So we're going to help you become a very successful marketer and salesperson without that sales and sort of pushy sales reputation that sometimes sales comes with. This is more about consulting and more about problem solving and being a solution for a problem rather than selling products and services. And again, we'll be teaching you all of that you need to know. We're just perfecting what you already know. And lastly, adaptability. Our business changes every day. I'm sure as you started this morning, Jessicamay, your day started one direction and then ended in another. And that's how we look for people that are adaptable, that and you're going to learn how to be more adaptable, which you can take to any role and you can take to any situation, really. So all these skills that you're going to gain, they're really just sort of life skills that will prepare you through life events. Are there any other skills in here that you would add, Jessicamay, that your role has prepared you and given you in the year that you've had with us as a placement student?
Yeah, so going back to your previous subject that you went on, in terms of getting the graduate offer or the way the promotion works, just to touch on that quickly, I actually found a lot of obviously in my final year now, a lot of my peers at uni are stressing. They are really stressing because they're struggling to find graduate jobs. And I'm actually in a position where I don't need to panic. I can just get on with my studies, and I know that I've got my job at Enterprise waiting. And I think that's a really good thing with those. And on the career progression as well, one of my colleagues started last September. He's already an assistant branch manager at less than a year on. I think he got promoted in August, and he is running his own branch. And I'd say, in terms of skills, I'd probably say the skill that I'm most proud of is that I was able to run a business by myself effectively and efficiently, which I don't think I could. Any other placement would allow me to walk away and do the main things for me. A real big thing I'd probably say is teamwork. You all work together as a team every day. Your team help you so much, and just customer service, communication. You don't realize how much you learn when you're actually doing the job, and then when you sit like me now, where I'm back at uni, I'm like, wow, I've learned so much. Didn't do the placement year. They're like, oh God, what do I put on my CV? And I'm in a position where I've got a list full of skills that I've learned that I can add onto my CV, which is
absolutely. Thank you, Jessicamay. That's great. Great to hear a lot, like we said, transfer over to really just other roles, other life, just life in general. So application process to begin with, before we go into the final application, last bits of advice and tips. So all of you have been invited, most of you, I would say, not all of you, have been invited by one of the recruiters who met you on campus, where you've registered your interest with enterprise mobility, which is fantastic. And we're really, really excited to have you here today, listening to Jessicamay and I share with you information about the company. You'll then be invited to apply online. So if you're ready and you're like, right, yes, I would definitely want to apply for those placement roles or the graduate roles, I will say your online application. It does not ask for a CV, so make sure that you fill that in with your skills, highlighting customer service, any teamwork, any extracurricular that you've experience that you've had. Our jobs for 2025 are now open, so you can apply for 2025 placement roles. They're open and they'll be filled once they'll be closed once they're filled. So now is the best time to apply. Don't delay. If you don't know when you're going to be available for an interview, don't worry. We're going to give you lots of time to figure that out. Just get your application in and make sure that you obviously you spend some time on it. We don't also ask for, as it says on the screen, don't ask for a minimum grade or a specific subject. So we're very inclusive in that respect. And once you apply online, then if you meet the criteria, the eligibility criteria, we'll then contact you for a virtual interview. Might be a phone interview as well, where we'll just ask for a little bit more examples about your experience and ask you why you want to learn or why you want to work at Enterprise and what you know about the role. That will then, if you're successful from that role, then we'll take you to the last and final stage, and that's the the branch visit after your application and after your virtual interview. So that's where you will spend quite a few hours, actually, about a couple of hours with a branch, and you're going to be observing what happens in a branch environment. So could you see yourself working in the shoes of the assistant manager? Could you see yourself as a placement student? So all of those are things that you'll be doing, and then you'll have a final interview at that one by the area manager. So that all happens in the same place. So that's fantastic that some of you are putting some questions in the chat about the application process. So yes, you can apply now. Those we do have immediate jobs open in some locations. If you go to our website, which is in the chat, you will then search by the location that you want to work in, and then those jobs that are available will be there as well. If you are interested in some of the placements that are in our head office, if you've met some of our interns that work at our head office, again, you just do maybe search for placement, then they will come up on our website as well. So you can come to us, you can apply from any background, so it doesn't have to be business. So that's the what someone had asked the questions on the chat. So I'm just going to finish my slides here, and then obviously make some time for some Q&A. So lastly, we are a very social company. We'd love for you to share and to follow us and connect with us. We have a Facebook page. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and our YouTube. Our YouTube channel has lots of really, really helpful content, some pre-recorded videos like this, but also shorts around application process, hints and tips and advice. So check that out. That's the YouTube channel as well. So you can connect with me. And if you want to connect with me and Jessicamay on LinkedIn, I'm going to, we'll just share that in the chat in just a few minutes. But I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment and then open it up for some Q&A. If you are in the Southeast region, I am the recruiter for the Southeast. That is my name and my email address, but your recruiter will have obviously invited you to the session today. So thank you so much for listening to us. I want to stop sharing the screen now and just focus on some questions before we finish the session today. So thank you very much for listening. We do have our Q&A session now open. We've got some questions in the chat. So, okay, let's have a look at some questions that have been asked to make sure. Jessicamay, do you have any last piece of advice for anybody looking to apply that isn't quite sure before I go into the questions?
Yeah, so I would say during like when you're looking to apply, heavily look on the website. We're really lucky that Enterprise have the facility of the website. I think a lot of my interview prep came from looking at the website, to be completely honest. Obviously I applied for the job, knew a little bit about the background, but my real knowledge came from looking at the website, and sort of just looking at our founding values and everything. The interview process is super easy. I remember, well, it's not super easy, but my very first online interview was just a normal conversation. It was really peaceful. I didn't feel stressed at all. And then the branch visit, it's actually funny. I did my branch visit at the branch that I work at. And it's nothing to panic about. The people have all been in your position. Everybody does a branch visit to be where, if you want a job. So, and the people that I did the branch visit with, they're all managers in Enterprise now. Every single one of them that I did a year ago when I did my interview are all managers now. And everybody wants you to get the job. Everybody wants you to work with them. And the area managers, 9 times out of 10, are absolutely lovely, and they also want you to get the job. So it's nothing to stress about. Just be yourself, ask those questions. That's probably the main bit of advice I'd give everyone. And just interact as much as possible.
Absolutely. That interaction is key. Don't sit quietly, thinking, oh, I don't want to disturb anybody because they're working and I'm on I'm doing an interview. So the contrary, they're expecting you, they've planned for you to be there. That's the day that they wanted to see you. So therefore interact, obviously within limitations, but definitely interact. Don't sit quietly. That's great advice. Thank you, Jessicamay. With the interviews, as I mentioned, anything to highlight in addition to what Jessicamay just said there, I think it's really important that you share what you've done. So have you come to the session? Have you connected with the recruiter on LinkedIn? Have you had a look at the blogs? Have you seen some of the social media posts? Talk about that. Don't just assume they know. So talk about all the, because that is preparation and research for the role. So make sure you talk about that. That's really important. The jobs are open now, as I mentioned, so you can apply for those. That we have immediate starts, and then we also have 2025 roles for both summer internships, placements, and placements at our head office, and also our graduate management training program. The graduate management training program does allow you to apply if you are an international student. However, you do need to have 2 full years of your graduate visa. So you need to make sure that you have that for the right to work for the first 2 years. You do also need a full UK driving license for the graduate role and for the 1-year internships and summer internships. That is a requirement. If you're not quite, if you're still taking lessons, that's absolutely fine. You can still connect and engage with us. And then once you've got your driving license, just email us back to say, I've passed my test, I've got my driving license, and then we'll put you right back in the application process. So you're not going to delay anything. Remember, we have a rolling application process, so we are going to have positions, and that is also in Ireland as well, Jillian. So thank you for that question. We do have lots of jobs across the Republic as well. So make sure that you just search on our careers website for those positions. Oh, thank you very much. I think my colleague Samantha just put that in there as well. So I think Jessicamay talked a little bit about what happens in the branch visit. Yeah, the branch visit is, like I said, it's an observation. You get to interact. People, will be able to see how well you interact with customers and others. And that's the final interview stage. So it's combined branch visit with the final interview from your area manager. So by that point, you should go in really confident. We have a whole new session because we want you to do well once you're in the application process. Because at this point, not many would have applied unless unless you just did that over the last couple of last day or so. If you are in the application process, you'll have another invitation, and we call that the drop-in session Wednesday nights. And that's about hints and tips all about the application, how to stand out. This is more about an overview about the role and the company. So watch out for that. And things will obviously be discussed there about how to do well in that interview. But that is mostly what by that point, the branch visit is to just make sure the role is right for you, and last chance to sell yourself. Phone interview tips. Does everyone go through phone interview. Not everybody, but those that perhaps maybe needed a little bit, maybe their CV didn't quite highlight some information. So our recruitment team just want to make sure that we don't let anybody go without checking that. So we'll phone you to check those things, make sure you qualify, make sure you have the right competencies that we look for. And the best thing there is obviously be prepared. Don't do it while you're traveling. Don't do it while you're on the bus or in a quiet area. Be prepared to have a conversation and treat it like an interview. Don't treat it like just, oh, it's just a casual phone call. So be prepared and be ready for the call. Make sure that you're ready to pick up the call within the time frame that someone has given you. Great. I think I've covered everything. Yes, the last question about having an automatic license, you do need to have your automatic license. A manual license. Automatic, unless it's for medical reasons. It's really, it really is important that you are, that you do have a manual license. Otherwise, your application will get rejected. And the recruitment team are going to invite you to these drop-in sessions on Wednesday. So don't worry. I think that's a question from someone. I'm wondering how you get invited to those. We will invite you. Yes, there are jobs in the Manchester area. Again, there's a link up in the chat. Just have a look. You go straight to our careers website, and you can just search by location where you want to work. We've got lots of locations across the country. So lots of exciting opportunities for us. How do we find the online form that we haven't registered on campus? So you've already registered. If you haven't, and obviously you're streaming in, go to your local recruiter. Again, on our careers website, there'll be the local recruiter's name, and let them know that you're looking to apply for whatever job it is, or just go ahead and directly apply online is the best way. I've got one question here to be clear on this. How am I right? Am I right now working with healthcare organization and for 3 years? Okay, so I think that's about, can I also apply? Yes, you can apply. I don't know which role you're applying for, but if it's, if you're still at university and you're not going to be graduating until 2026, the roles that you are eligible for are the summer internships and the 1-year placement if you have a work placement or with your degree. But this is not a role that you'd apply for whilst you're still at university. This is a full-time role. So that should be also in the information. There is no age limit that I know of. I might be wrong, but we will let you know, of course. And you do need a driving license for those people that are asking questions. You do need a driving license for those roles that required on the criteria it will tell you, and that's the summer internships, the 1-year placements, and our rental operations as well. Some of those main offices in the UK, which are the head office is in Egham, but we have some regionals, and some roles may not ask for the driving license, and that's a full UK license. Great. My colleague Sam has just typed in the local recruiter information, which is great. And I've already mentioned this, but anybody, you can come to us from any background. It doesn't have to be business. So yes, you can come to us with human resource management as well. And I think I've already covered the sponsorship. I didn't cover how long does a graduate management trainee last for in the Q&A. So it takes 1 year to complete, and or less. It's really down to you, and then 2 years to get to branch manager. Great. That is all the time we have time for. I'm going to make an end. Please, if you want to continue the conversation, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and ask any questions. And that's again around the type of working hours, and that's a question for the recruiter. But yes, it is a full-time role that you'll be working with, and that is Monday to Friday, and we are also open at weekends, which we have flexible working. So the time that you'll have some time off in the week to accommodate for the obviously the time that you'll be working over the weekends, and it's alternating as well, so that we focus on work-life balance there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jessicamay. You've been great. I know you've had some technical issues there, but with your signal, but you've done well, and we've managed to hear you clearly, and you've shared some really amazing insight and some tips for students. So thank you for your time.
No worries. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely. And if you guys have any questions for me, just message me on LinkedIn, how my experience was or anything like that. I'll be more than happy to help you. As well, if you have any queries about application, I've been through it, so I can help you as well.
That's great. No, thank you very much. And thank you for everyone as well for attending tonight, for coming and registering with us at the university events. Please continue to have those conversations with your local recruiter who you connected with, who sent you the invitation for today. And we really look forward to your applications. I'm really excited to obviously hear more about you. And if you have any questions, please have them send them over on LinkedIn if or directly to the recruiter. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next time.